going on, everybody? Welcome to the Phil Bohol Show. Today, I have my mentor and senior, Wes Watson, here joining me. Going to drop some fucking bombs for you guys. I want you to understand this man has changed my life in just a matter of months, changed how I perceive life, how I look at life. And I want him to just share everything, that we could possibly share in this small period of time, so that way you can change your life and stop bitching and moaning about where you're not because of the work that you haven't done. So Wes, can you introduce yourself and a little bit of your background? Because your story, it's inspiring. Like, it really is.
Honestly, I looked at a picture of my fucking life yesterday morning, and I was shocked at where I'd gotten, but I still understand that I owe every morning. One of my favorite fucking things to write and say and actually personify right now is all I know is that I owe. Every morning I wake up and I know I owe the man that I've needed my whole life. I know I owe the answers that I've found thus far on my journey to the world. What if when you woke up in the morning, you're like, fuck that. I fucking owe everybody. I owe everybody what's working for me. I roll into the gym this morning. Phil's got the bicep vein popping. His waist is looking small. His arms are looking chunky. Everybody wants that aesthetic look. But how does he get it to them? He has to get them to first believe they're worthy of this. He has to get them to know they have the time, they have now they have the skill set, the know-how to do it, and that it's a need. Men are supposed to show up at a certain way. So the blueprint's simple to getting in shape. Everybody knows what the fuck to eat, how to work out and shit, but personal development's the issue. Everybody knows the blueprint for these things, but how many people can actually steadily apply what needs to be applied every day? And that's why every time I get on camera, for the rest of my fucking life, I'm gonna reiterate these words. We do not have an education issue. We have an application issue. You motherfuckers need to quit reading so much and trying to learn that new thing and really get deep into the application of the simple things that will change your life. That's the facts. And that's what we did with Phil. We had him just really look at two areas. An area where he wasn't fully exercising, using his financial capacity as the tool needed to grow his business and himself. And then the physical side. Most business people let their health, let their aesthetics fall to the wayside. And in the time of this being the age of attention, where we're monetizing attention, you need to look good on camera. People are not gonna vibrate. They're not gonna be an energetic match with you on camera if you don't feel good about how you look. They're not gonna feel good about you either. They feel how you feel. Life's a mirror, it's not a window. And all this shit that we're teaching and learning each day, you have to learn anew every morning. It's not gonna be so much learning a bunch of new shit from me. We're reminding people how to act, how to be. And we're keeping them course corrected through the content that we post daily. The best thing I can do for Phil, the best thing I can do for you guys is remind you daily how to stay on course and stay on track through social media. That is the best possible way you can guide people in 2023.
Yeah. And why do you think people hold themselves back from that application? Because you get a lot of knowledge. People call it fucking some type of head masturbation, right? You just think and think and think and think, and you process information, but you don't take action. So a lot of guys out there are complaining that they're not getting these results, but they're not executing, they're not applying. What holds people back? Why can't they get that? Why aren't they tracking?
Most people, they honestly are very delusional with where they're at. So first off, they'll want to make 400, 500,000 a month with their personal brand or their coaching business or their products online or something. And they'll see that someone else made 35 or 50 grand day one. And then they won't realize that through law of compensation alone, that person who had a great first day had put 4 years into their audience. They had poured energy and value into their audience for 4 fucking years to get that immediate day one result. Now the other guy hasn't poured anything into his people, and he's so delusional he thinks he deserves the same result as the selfless man who showed up for 4 years prepping his people. And setting the fucking foundation. I set the foundation in prison. You guys, I posted in prison from 2014 till I got out, and then I haven't missed since I got out. I've been out almost 6 years, and from 2014 till today, I haven't missed a post on my Instagram. Once I started YouTube, didn't miss a post there, ever. The whole thing is how do we not miss, is what he's saying. How the fuck do we just stay bulletproof with our ability to apply what we know needs to apply to get where we want to go? We stay bulletproof with that when we make it not about us. When we're the living example. We're personifying the teachings so others wish to learn. It's too easy for me because I know all I have to do is show up. Yeah. And when we show up, we put the reps and we get better and better.
Yeah. People have it backwards, right? They think, I want the money, I want the Lambos, I want the exotics, I want the fucking mansion, I want everything. I want. But that's like outside of them. They're so selfish with what they want. And they every single day, they don't show up. And like you said, if you show up for somebody else, you show up that you need to serve other people, that you owe other people. It's a different mentality. Where does that come from? Because people have that all types of fucking backwards.
I mean, life's more about being and becoming than appearing and acquiring. I had a bigger brand than all these motherfuckers when I had no money and lived at my grandma's house. I lived at my fucking grandma's house when I got out of prison. I walked to the gym, and filmed content every day, just very raw content. And I had a bigger brand that made more than everybody right now that's trying to build their brand. I was making 150 to 200K right out the gate at my grandma's. I didn't have a car yet. These people think that they need a Lambo. You don't need a Lambo. You need to be a motherfucking Lambo. You need to be the top version of you. And Phil actually came in as a 7-figure CEO already selling products online. So he was already pretty optimized in what needed to be done business-wise. But when we made the 10.0 Phil, now it became real. And the way to get Phil to stick to this is his core beliefs, his values. And that's going to be family. Phil's going to have to show, every time he wants to miss, he just has to look at his family. That's it. Like, how the fuck can grown men miss so much what needs to be done and then look at their family and tell them they love them? Like, how the fuck are you going to go have a drink? How are you going to go cheat on your diet? How are you going to go cheat on your fucking wife and just sit there and tell your people that you love them and then believe that everyone doesn't see through your fucking bullshit? There's a quote when I was in prison that resonated with me till this day. And anything that gives you the chills, anything that really resonates with you, you live to a T. And it was, if a man is right, his world will be right. Sometimes I won't have the best month business wise, and I'll be like starting to validate with the money, or I'll have a slow day and it'll take me a few hours of like having a slow day in sales. I'll be like, fuck that. I'm not about the money. I'll go spend money purposely to show that I don't even fucking care about it. Take it. Yep. The whole thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show up every day and give value. That's it. So what if your goal was, I'm going to build the most valuable Instagram page. I'm going to show up and be the best person I could be. If that was your goal, then your brand is going to be tight. Your brand is going to be strong. If your goal is just to get sales and that's what you think a brand is, well, now you're fucked because you're not thinking about the consumer. My people, I want to give them so much front end value that they change well before they ever sign up with me. That's being a preeminent source. Look that up, being a preeminent figure. You're the person that a group of people see as the height in an area, the very top person. I'm a preeminent figure to about 20 to 40,000 people. I mean, because we've tracked it. The same people watch all my shit and they just follow it fucking for the last 4 to 5 years without fail. So I'm a preeminent source to them. They would only go to me. If they have the money to spend for this personal development or this branding that I teach, they're going to me. And that's the goal. And how do we get that? Trust. Everybody online doesn't, they have that distrust, that wall up. How do you break down that wall? Humanize yourself. Like, we need to see Phil with his family. He needs to share deeper shit. If he shares 1, 2, 3 vulnerable things about him, the follower, the viewer is going to share one about them with him. Because we want fucking answers. We want answers. We need them.
Yeah. You talked about redlining. You talked about like going all in when shit like is not working for you, or you start getting about the money. I see it a lot in the online space. People are about their money. Like they kind of fucked up the coaching industry. They're so about their money, they forget that there's a fucking human on the other side of this whole situation who's hurting, whose literal life is on the line. And what happens when you're like, okay, I'm making it about the money today, or the sales, or the business. I'm about business, and you start spending money. How do you handle that stress? Because people don't understand the correlation between business and personal development.
I go with the quote I've been telling everyone. Mm-hmm. So lately I've been running off this quote, and my girl actually showed it to me. She said, fear is what if, and faith is even if. Mm-hmm. So I just go straight to even if. Mm-hmm. Even if I'm fully broke, I'm still a great man. Mm-hmm. That's it, done. Even if I lose everything, look at what I've been through and look who I am now. What if you validated with who you are now, and that was the answer you're giving people? You're giving them more confidence in self. You're giving them that validation that they're actually a great man now. Mm-hmm. That's all I want people to focus on, being a better person, and that's the outcome we want. Because if I give you all the money and you're a horrible person, you're gonna expedite. You're going to speed up the death rate. You're going to literally ruin your life very quickly. If you give people an abundance of choices, and they're not someone who's centered with core beliefs, values, and non-negotiable daily habits. So if you give them an abundance of money, more choices, or say women or any vice that's theirs, they can do more. They have more options. They are going to speed up the death rate. That's the casket's going to close quick on these motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. And I've seen it happen way too much. I'm getting kind of pissed because I think I've created some monsters. Yep. Like I'm showing so much money and so much stuff that it's losing the message. And I have to continually remind them, like I said, I'm like, you stupid motherfucker. I had a huge brand when I lived at my grandma's. Mm-hmm. They're like, am I ready to teach people? I'm like, of course you're ready. If you really use these answers and they've been an instrument in changing your life. Mm-hmm. I was in fucking prison. The choices that I made, the thoughts I was having, the actions that I partook in landed me in prison. Now, the thoughts I have and the actions I partake in gave me this life. Mm-hmm. It is as simple as your mindset and your daily habits. If I change your mindset and change your daily habits, your life will completely change. Now, a lot of idiots are just really fucking delusional about the timeline that this takes. It can be a week. It can be a year. It could be 10 years. It took me 16 years. Mm-hmm. Why the fuck in year one is everyone on why on chapter 1, year 1, is everyone looking at my chapter 16, year 16?
Yep.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Long game versus short game. That mentality has totally shifted how I look at business, how I look at life, just expectations day to day. I think I'm more at peace whenever I think about the long game. Like, we're here, motherfucker. We're not going anywhere. And when I hear all of these fucking people say, I'm doing it for my family, I'm showing up, but they'll travel, they'll do things like this. They'll come all the way to Miami, and then they'll go fucking party. They'll start drinking. They'll do stupid shit. And then they'll go back home, look at their wife and say, hey, babe, I did it for you. I did it for you. How does that make you feel knowing that most of the world, and because there's only a small percentage of people from my belief system, small percentage of people that actually actualize the shit that they say. How does it make you feel knowing that 80, 90% of people are so fucking lost right now?
I'm happy. I'm a rare man. I'm a rare man who just backs up what the fuck he says, you know? Yeah. And I mean, when you get to the level, a lot of us are all in the same growth space, in the same group. So it starts to get people kind of jaded. Now we're comparing to the top people because none of us are drinking anymore. All of us have focus. We're all operating under like a business model that has no cap. So we're all like kind of, hey, like this is possible for all of us right here. Mm-hmm. The thing is if you really want to know how valuable what you're teaching is, go fuck up for a week. Just go do it. Just go drink, go sleep in, go eat a bunch of shit food, don't work out, and realize how fucked your life is when you're actually optimized and aligned like we are. You would be suicidal. You would realize that what you're teaching people is worth more than money at that point. You would understand right then that it is priceless, what you're teaching people. But we get so caught in the momentum, we're just like, next thing, next thing, next thing, next thing. And me, there's no next thing anymore. I have fucking 12 exotic cars in a warehouse in Miami that cost me $24,000 a month, and I don't even go over there. Like, I've just been driving the same cars that are sitting out front of my house dirty, and I've just been spending every moment with my family. I work hard as fuck with people all day. I get into flow state like this. I love it. I crave it. It's the only escape I have. And then at the end of the day, I just sit there in awe of my family. And that's what I want you guys to do. I want you to get lost in your work, truly love it. And then I want you to be cultivating relationships that you get lost in too. When people are like really like, hey, relationships work and this and that, I'm not the best at talking about relationships. I've had some bad ones publicly that are fucking lovely because I like showing my failures. I love doing that. But the whole point is now where we're at, it's not work. It's just personal work.
Yep.
Like once the people are ready for the situation, it just meshes. Before with Angie, my current girlfriend, who we'll be together forever. I'm committed for life. I don't give a fuck. I'm always a committed motherfucker. Someone who doesn't commit to their partner for life, that's weird. I see a lot of it in Miami. It's not for me. I don't believe a man should have multiple partners. I don't believe a man should have any sort of lies or fucking distrust or anything like that with the person he lays down with. You can't trust him. So I mean, but the point is where we're at now, I guess it did take work to get there, but now we're at a perfect match of we know exactly what we want.
Yeah.
I just don't call anything work.
Yeah.
I just call it life.
Yeah, a lot of people call it work, and they think that it's like this.
Stop defining everything so incorrectly. Fuck defining shit wrong. Like false definitions will be the end of people. They call the gym work. I call it freedom.
Right.
They call this fear. Like they're afraid of this. I'm like, I'm free here. I get to be me. When everyone knows everything about you motherfuckers, when they know everything about Phil, when everyone said everything, they've embellished everything, he'll be finally free. When finally that thing that he didn't want everyone to know, he talks about or someone talks about or people understand and hear, then the freedom will be there. Basically with me, everything's been said. Everything's been said. I've been demonized so much, all this shit. And at first it hurts because you're like, that's not even true. And then you just start to accept it. And the true freedom comes from facing everything. You know?
Yeah. Is that what makes a strong man?
What makes a strong man is for him to not get his way and still show up. So if you're not getting your way and you still show up, that's a real motherfucker. A lot of people, they're so conditional. They're like, wait, unless my conditions are met, I'm not going to show up. So I need this, this, and this, and then I'll show up. That's a 9-to-5 mentality. The real entrepreneur mentality, the real man mentality, the person who's going to take what they want in life, they're going to show up no matter how the situation is, because their goal is to prove their worth, prove their value, and overtake any circumstances that are not favorable to them. So that's what we do. Like time and time again, I ask people, they're like, I don't know if this works for me. I'm like, what works for you, motherfucker? Stupid ass. Watch what you say right now. Like, I don't know if coaching works for me. I'm like, nothing works for you in life. You work for it, you dumb motherfucker. And the guy's just like, oh. I'm like, did you think this was going to be easy? And they're like, well, I'm having trouble making content. Join the fucking club. Like, these are the content that we make in personal development space is problems. If you haven't solved the problem, you will not be able to articulate the solution correctly. So a lot of people are coming out into this space having solved nothing in their life and acting like they're an advocate that people should listen to, and that's their biggest problem. Only speak about what you've solved. Stay in your fucking lane. Don't minimize shit like Phil busting the bicep vein out, getting in completely different shape, his face looking just way more chiseled and feeling so much better. Do not minimize that. With the big enough following, that is an 8-figure fucking skill set. Drinking, dropping the drugs, that is 8 figures. Everything he has done is an 8-figure skill set once his following and his brand is optimized. Very quick in the beginning, it's 6 figures. It's already, each thing he knows has already become a 6-figure skill set to him, and they've came together to be 7, multiple 7s. And that's what people don't get. And even when I talk about money now, I cringe. I'm like, fuck. Like, how is this happening? Because I used to be pretty excited about the money. Then I started making millions and millions a month. Now I'm like, can we get back to the message? Like, you guys, can we get back to the fucking message? Like, what makes a man just set his soul on fire? And it happens in that gym. It happens sitting on the couch with your family. It happens when you pull your fucking phone out and you write from your soul. I mean, everyone's missing it. They're trying to get an outcome instead of just being and truly just embodying what works, you know?
Mm-hmm. There's a passiveness in the world right now. I think there's a lot of, we call it in the military, snowflakes. We have a lot of people who, they don't tap into themselves. They don't tap into that primal state. You do that, and that's one thing that I really respect about you. It's like you can just, it's on 24/7. It's not even a switch. It's just on. That primal instinct, do you think that people have like lost touch with like who the fuck they're supposed to be? Because like I don't sense that presence in a lot of people anymore.
They've been censored.
Yeah.
Like they're afraid to say certain shit because stupid fucks will even try to come in my comments and be like, hey, like, why so many curse words? Mm-hmm. Like, hey, you're not cussing on your page and I'm not in your comments telling you to cuss more. Why are you censoring me? Mm-hmm. Everyone needs to stop censoring people and just support what they're attracted to. Mm-hmm. So if you're not attracted to it, just don't support it. Yep. Just go away from it. Yep. The whole point is everybody checked in. Society made people check in, and a lot of people checked in for money. Mm-hmm. And they don't realize they checked in for money. They literally don't realize that they have completely censored themselves and they have conformed. Mm-hmm. And the problem with conforming is everybody loves you but you. Yeah. So when you show up to your work, your job, when you show up on TV, on social media, and you've conformed and you're telling everyone what they want to hear, everybody's going to love you and agree with you except you, because you know the truth. The man who cannot conform, he will draw the line. Mm-hmm. And when you draw the line, most people are going to hate you, but the real ones are going to be like, that's actually the answer we need. Yeah. And so that's where the problem is most people aren't strong enough to take the scrutiny, to hear the consistent negativity from people who've conformed to society's standard.
Yeah. So the world is lost because they're conforming. And in order to get to the next stage in their life, their next evolution, they have to set themselves free. But there's a lot of fear of judgment. So what you're saying is, if you're just freely yourself, you say whatever the fuck you want, whenever you want, however you feel in those moments, if that's truth for you, that's what the world needs.
The world needs your journey. Mm-hmm. The world needs what you've been through, the truth of it. Because the only thing that's completely acceptable 100% of the time is your truth. Like, there's people struggling with shit because they're not being honest about what's taking place. Mm-hmm. They won't stand up and say, hey, like, that's happening to me too right now. Because mm-hmm. they have an ego, they feel ashamed of it. And that's why even me coming out and saying, motherfucker, you got tits. Like, no one should have sold as many workout programs as I've fucking sold by telling his audience, you got tits and you're a fat bitch. Fuck you. Mm-hmm. But where did that come from? Where did that come from? My fucking dad and my brother, when I was younger, used to say I had tits. Mm. And it fucking pissed me off so bad. It bothered me so much that I went and changed. Mm-hmm. So guess what? The healer is actually the person who can trigger you. So if you trigger people online, you're the person who can heal them by triggering in them what needs to be triggered for them to heal themselves. Mm-hmm. So I'm sitting here telling people a truth bomb that hurts, and I'm actually the healer when a lot of people would say that I'm causing them damage. Mm-hmm. No, I'm making them see a truth that they're avoiding. And when they see that truth, we know what the law of exposure is. Law of exposure states, once exposed, you can't be unexposed. That guy probably wasn't even seeing his walrus, hairy ass, shitty ass titties that are lopsided in the mirror, but his wife was. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I told him that his wife looked at him like a fucking titty having broad of a man, and he's a straight pussy, and then he saw that, and he recognized it as truth, he got his fat ass in the gym. Yep. And so I don't give a fuck. Love ain't lies. I'm going to kick their fucking teeth in because guess what? That's what worked for me. Yep. I was a bitch of a man who used to use methamphetamine, cocaine, drink, do drugs, be violent, sell dope. I ended up in prison. I still did drugs in prison, still sold drugs in prison. And then I had to change because I didn't respect myself. The one thing that has to take place in your fucking life is you have to look in the mirror and respect your motherfucking self. Love yourself. Because if you don't love and respect yourself, nobody's gonna feel that way about you. The whole world feels about you what you feel about yourself. So people know I'm massively confident right now because I'm confident. I am what I am. Like, I've done it. I don't have to prove it. I've talked to one of the top people in my space, top motherfucker. Before I went to a speaking engagement, I actually did with Bedros, the High Performance Summit years ago. I've been speaking engagements with top people, like one-on-one, straight up mentors. I've done it. The last thing I spoke at, there was 9 or 7 speakers. 5 of them were my coaching clients. The speakers, not the audience. More of the speakers on stage were my clients than any, probably even in recorded history. That, hey, here's a guy who's a coach. Here's 7 people speaking. He's coached 5 out of the 7. This just doesn't happen. But how do you start breaking? How do you start becoming that way? I mean, you possess the answer. How do you possess the answer? You're fucking very truthful with yourself. We could be more. Yep. We owe more. We're offerings. I owe Phil my best. I'm not gonna come on here half-ass and not give everything I got. I prepare beforehand. I haven't had a carb today because I needed to show up with clarity. And don't think that's the hack. Oh, that's what's gonna do it, Wes? If I have no carbs, I'll kill it on camera? No, you have to kill it on camera to kill it on camera. And guess what that takes? Removing the fear of not killing it on camera. Fuck. Everything is a removal process, okay? Everyone already operates at a high capacity. We're very conscious beings. We already possess everything we possess to attract each other, to repel each other. And what we have to do is learn how to align ourselves with the outcome we want. Very simple.
Yeah. Talk to me a little about the offering. So I've been telling people for years we're a vessel. So if you hear something, if something calls to you, you have to go after it. So for me, it was interesting when I started mentoring under you, started learning under you, you kept saying you have to be the offering. So for me, it feels like the offering is above being a vessel. A vessel is we receive. The offering is now you value everything you received and now you give it back to the world.
Well, like Maslow's law of growth needs is self-actualization, the vessel, then self-transcendence, the offering. So you were right. You were just in a phase of self-actualization. You were becoming that vessel. So you were the example. You personified the teaching. Other people would want it. But when you fully become that offering is when you've transcended self and you know everything you are is owed. People don't even understand the way I operate. Every day I'll go sit somewhere. I'll just go sit. And I'll park one of my stupid ass, crazy ass cars right there, and I'll just sit. I'm usually wearing like a $500,000 watch, and people I stand out. Someone will be like looking at my car, taking a picture. Is that yours? Yeah, it's mine. What do you do? I do this. What do you mean you do this? Well, I was waiting for you. And they're like, you're waiting for me? What do you mean you were waiting for me? I'm like, yeah, this is what I do. I help people. The person's like, what the fuck? I'm like, well, what are you going through right now? And the guy goes, I just quit smoking like 3 months ago. I dropped 40 pounds. I've been posting my stuff on YouTube. Bro, like, this feels so great. And I'm like, I knew it. He's like, you knew what? Maybe I'm the top person in the world at what you're talking about. Maybe if you went on YouTube right now and you put my name in, you would see that what you're talking about doing, I'm very, very far along in doing. And look at this. And I just show them. I say, look I post a video, has a link. The link goes to my Instagram or my webpage, and then it comes to this phone. And this phone, all these people are trying to get help. let's talk to Tim right here. And I messaged Tim back through the CRM. Tim needs help with dropping his weight, dropping the drink, and being a better father. I send him my programs. He wants $7,500, 3 months. In front of the kid, I closed the sale that quick. I'm like, I just made $7,500. I'm at $47,000 for the day helping people. And he's like, what the fuck? He didn't even know anything like that existed. Just like me when I started. When I started coaching, I didn't know that this was a business you'd make millions in. That was not my goal. Nobody had to tell me what to fucking say. Nobody had to tell me what to do. I got on camera and just said, I'm a different man. My life has changed. I feel so fucking good. I have to share this. You fucking assholes. If you've done anything good in your life, get the fuck on camera and just share it and document it. What will stop you from sharing and documenting is your motherfucking ego. Their ego will stop them. It's not good enough. It's not this. I don't like how I sound. I don't like how I look. I don't like where I'm at. I'm not ready. Why the fuck is it about you? The person on the other side of the camera is going to prison. The person on the other side of the camera is losing their child. The person on the other side of the camera doesn't want to have a drink tonight, and they're helpless to this demon inside of them that they're gonna go drink and they're gonna lose their wife that they love more than anything, and it's killing them. And you have the answer. And since you don't like how you look, you're not gonna help them with it? The fuck is that? And that's what I've been trying to tell all you motherfuckers who don't post online the solutions you found. You're selfish and you have a massive ego. The people who don't post have the biggest ego and they're the most selfish. The guy in your elevator who shops at Kohl's and he's worth $2 billion and everyone knows he's so rich and he wears a Casio watch and he doesn't want you to know how much money he has and he won't share with you the techniques how he made his billions. He's actually a fucking asshole, and society has told you that he's a humble, great man because he doesn't make you feel uncomfortable with his money. He should make you feel uncomfortable with his money, and he should take the time to teach you how to fucking get rid of that discomfort by gaining the outcome that's causing the discomfort. The fuck is everyone so lost for? They would rather sit in that shell of delusion than actually solve the problem.
Mm-hmm. Wow. It's a lot, because a lot of people just don't understand that when you start, I don't know, there's something about every time you talk about being that person, like the joy that you feel, the happiness that you feel when you're from self-actualization to transcendence. I mean, just the story you were telling, I was kind of tearing up a little bit because I was just like, Jesus.
Oh, God, I've almost cried 3-4 times and I got the chills right now, dude.
Yeah, because when you're telling me that, it's like you just know yourself at such a deep level, you know others. And that's all you do. That's all you give to the world. But it's like so hard to become that because people are so impatient with getting there.
Well, they're conditional.
Yeah.
They're not going to go online and share their whole life because they're really just doing it for money. Mm-hmm. They've been conditioned to believe if they show up and give their time, they need monetary compensation. Mm-hmm. I didn't need that. In prison, there's nothing. You're not buying cars. You don't have bills. Like, if you sell shit, it's just to have extra food under your bed and some green dot numbers so you can have a phone to talk to people. It's very simple. But how a man validates himself in prison is through his conduct, his character, his work ethic, his program. What time he wakes up, if he uses drugs or not, how solid his word is, and the man he shows up as daily. That's the only way he validates himself. So coming out back to that standard, I only validated myself with that, and I never changed it. And that brought the money, because that was the solution needed in a world full of people chasing money and living conditionally, transactionally. We needed relationships. Mm-hmm. We needed connection. We needed the true currency of the universe to reign supreme, which is energy exchange. Mm-hmm. I give people energy. I give people everything of me so they can go do. Other people give people bad energy, and it drains them. And the whole thing is how can we be the most congruent individual for others? We just have to have walked that path. Mm-hmm. So many people trying to appear that they've walked a certain path is the problem, because they're doing it to have their condition met. not to meet other people's current set of circumstances and solve their condition.
Yeah. What's your vision for what you want for the world? So for me, I'm at the stage where I'm thinking about my bloodline. I'm first generation here from the Philippines. I've accomplished what I deem a lot. My dad made 6 figures. I made the first 7 figures in the family, but I want to take us to 9 figures. I want to carry as much weight on my back as I can in my one life I have to live. What's your vision for the world?
I've honestly been want to give all my money away. Yeah. I want to sell all my cars, give all my money away, give all my shit to my girl and her daughters, and just quit trying to get money. Yeah. I just don't even care. It's pissing me off so much because I feel like the message is being lost. And this is like the first time I've said it online. I live in a house that's $95,000 a month. I have another house in San Diego that's it's $65,000 plus expenses, another 20. I mean, I fly private. I have a bunch of exotic cars. I have all this stuff. That was part of me learning what the fuck was needed. Like, am I going to get rid of it all? No, because I have no attachment to it. I don't even care anymore. That just makes me lethal. Because now I'm only attached to the work. I'm only attached to this podcast. I'm only attached to the outcome I can get in people. I go on calls with my clients. I say, thank you. I'm like, I wasn't having that good of a day. They're like, why? I'm like, because I'm feeling like I've guided people in an incorrect way. And they're like, why? I'm like, well, I showed too much stuff and I wasn't telling them to just stay a better individual. And so now my life's course corrected. I believe in conscience congruency. I tell them, your conscience is the authentic voice of God. Like, that's it. And I was broken up with my girl for like 4 months and I was getting lost. And then my conscience just told me, do whatever you can to take care of them. Like, expect no return and just give to them. So I just told her one day, I said, I'm going to take care of you guys the rest of your life. And we weren't together. So I was getting nothing. And she lived in another state. And my conscience just told me, take care of those girls. Just take care of them. Just whatever it is. The rest of your life. That's all you have to do. Do that and you'll be fine. And so that's my only goal, is that. But in turn, by showing that story, by being that man, I know I'll be able to have everyone shine the light back on what matters, which is the relationships we have in our lives. Because there's so many negative people out there that really are not ready for good connection like this. They still have to go mess up. They have to have life kick them in the teeth a few fucking times. They have to go lose like I did in prison. They have to get humbled by life. And I don't even like the word humble, so I was avoiding trying to use it, but yeah, that's how people will understand it. To where then they can come back around, not be relational, or not be transactional and be more relational. Like, I want everyone to get more in tune with the relationships they have instead of the transactions that need to take place. Like, when I came in here, I just directly told the people who are doing a great job at what they do that they're doing a great job. And guess what? I'm not that guy. If you're doing a bad job, because 40 minutes before, the construction workers next to me were dusting the shit out of my car and they don't give a fuck. And I went over and told them that they're doing a horrible job in my own fucking words. So the whole point is I'm gonna tell people what they are. And I'm not gonna give a fuck. And I'm gonna guide them correctly, regardless if it causes me conflict or not. Because conflict avoided is conflict multiplied. So my whole fucking thing right now is to just put a spotlight on myself and know that I've took a stand and I'm walking a path and people are watching this story unfold, whether good or bad or whatever happens. The only thing that has to happen is what I've been saying the whole time, is I have to uphold my character. So upholding my character to me is never drinking or doing drugs again. Upholding my character to me is living with the daily habits of a man that I'm proud of and that I admire. And not breaking character to me is every word that I've said to the world that I just continue to apply.
Yeah. Can you talk to me a little bit about the struggling and the suffering? So suffering, it's when we suffer. So I was in the military as a machine gunner, and when you suffer, you find yourself. And we think about the voice of God. A lot of people override that. So can you kind of expand on that a little bit? Suffering, how that even changes
One of my favorite quotes in prison that I read was, The greatest thing about suffering is it's a for sure sign you're still alive. So I was in the SHU, I was in isolation when I read this, and I'm like, oh, I'm still alive. So a lot of people, they're just entitled. They don't realize there's a lot of pain in the world and the pain is needed. I actually am still always experiencing a lot of pain in my life because the pain was a prerequisite to me finding my purpose. So I need people to step into the pain they have in their life so they can find their purpose. I'm someone who helps people find their life's purpose. That's what I do. So I need to hit the pain points. I need to be the one who's willing to stand in front. And like I said many times lately, it's one of my favorite phrases that just came to me. And it's, you don't start living your life and your purpose till you start standing in front of other people who are destroying theirs. So you won't start living your life till you stand in front of individuals who are destroying theirs. And nobody wants to stand in front of anyone because they don't want the smoke. They don't want that heat. They want to just have their family, their life, and their shit. I really believe you're not even supposed to serve your family. I really believe you're supposed to report above and everything below will be taken care of. But all too often we'll be selfish and say, no, but my people need me to do this. No. You need to listen to your conscience. You need to listen to that voice, that authentic voice of creation, the source knowledge, the wisdom that we're downloading from above that we all tap into. You need to follow that with faith and realize your family will be taken care of. You cannot favor anybody except by reporting above. And I've been actually saying God more recently. I don't know when it happened. I don't know. I don't go to church. I don't favor Jesus or any other different religion. I don't care how people view me. I used to say universe a lot, and now I've just been saying God more. It just happened. I don't fucking know. And the thing is that's what I love to be. I like to just exist, show a result, and say, just try this. And when they try it, they get the same result. They're like, oh my God, that worked.
So I've been going through this weird thing where God, the universe, higher power, something's calling me to not focus on just my immediate family, the bloodline, the things like that. It feels like it's something bigger. What happens when somebody hears something like that and then the logical mind starts to override? Like, okay,
logic's the problem. Like, I'm so unrealistic and not logical. Like, logic would have you just box yourself in. I've never operated from realistic standards or life or anything. Like, I mean, I don't even have blood children, but my girl's daughters are my daughters. And before that, I was married and her son was mine. I mean, people are like, don't you want kids of your own? I'm like, I have kids of my own. What do you mean? Like, I've assumed the role of a father to them. It's so weird that people need that ego validation of, no, like, these are mine, you know, these are, like, I don't need that. And it's cool that you get that. That's awesome. But what if you were one of the people who couldn't have that? Would it change anything? Would you just choose not to be a father? Because I was a father to the world before I was a father to children. And I mean, the children in prison, some of them were 55 and they were my kids. Some of them were 35. Some of them were murderers, dope fiends, drug dealers. I mean, they were kids to me. I mean, now that you're successful and you remember your parents or any adults, isn't it laughable? Like, I make almost $3 million a month. I can buy anything I want. The fact that all these morons that I grew up around struggled so hard to get money is so laughable. I cannot fathom why the fuck it takes everyone so long to realize that all you have to do is become the best you and pick any field. No matter what field you pick, if you're the best version of you and you operate at the highest level you can, you will beat everybody. By default alone, you will be the top person because everyone else will think there's a hack or a way of being instead of the sacrifice, the true work, the true dedication, the true commitment of a man who will not live by balance. I was on a call with Tim Kennedy's group last night, and It was like 6 o'clock, and the call went longer. My family was eating dinner, and he's like, "Are we cutting into your family time?" I'm like, "No, they understand." And guess what? If they didn't and they left me, I still wouldn't stop. And guess what? If they left me, I still wouldn't stop loving them and taking care of them. So that goes to the even if. I won't stop my purpose for anything. It's not happening. I won't stop being the man that I've always needed and that my people need for anything. It's not happening. And that's the answer. Like, what makes people stop? They didn't get their outcome. That's why I continually say broke people and overweight people are the most superficial, selfish people on this planet. They tried to work out. They didn't get the results quick enough, so they quit. They tried to make moves to change their financial status. It didn't happen quick enough, so they quit. They were only about the result. The most successful people on this planet, they show up on the front end. They give value first. They're later paid and not guaranteed pay ever for the value they bring. That's the difference between a very successful person and someone who will never make it. Yep. I'm never guaranteed $1 when I show up and give my all every day, but I'll still give my all every day.
100%. I tell my people all the time that fear is an indicator towards like your purpose, right? So if you find actually like fears, the thing that's holding you back from moving forward, that's actually your breakthrough. If you actually look at everything that you're afraid of in life, if you actually conquered all of those fears, wouldn't you break through into your next level? How does fear affect people? I mean, like, I can't understand it, sir, because I have shit I gotta get done. You know, like, you tell me I gotta do something, I go do it. You told me to get the fucking Lambo, I got the fucking Lambo.
Yeah, you were afraid to make the move because if you make that move, for some reason, there's not gonna be enough money to take care of the family, and that's the logical mind. But then in the same fucking post, you're talking about abundance. And it's like, bro, the guy who will bet on himself, the guy who knows he's a top performer, the guy who knows that spot's for him and he'll take it, he'll go make all the moves. Like, literally, I know some of the top people I know, they take everything and they pour it back into their business every time. Yeah. And like, I've been one of those people. I just keep 2 million circulating, and then everything goes back into other things. So I just keep 2 million open, and then everything else is going into other shit. Yep. And I'm just steadily growing what the fuck I have. My whole thing is, I just don't even fucking care. So I have no fear of being broke. Yep. So there's no attachment to that outcome. People don't realize fear is a low frequency emotional state. When you're, like I like to tell people, your frequency is what you frequently see. If you honestly operate from these low frequency emotions, the whole thing is you attract that outcome. I've never thought that I even needed any of this shit. I knew that all I needed to do was be a man who didn't break character. And by being that man, I formulated some outcomes. People they really want to be guaranteed an outcome. Yep. And I just don't even give a fuck anymore. When you don't give a fuck, they're like, but you used to. It's like, no, I didn't. I really was okay with walking to the gym, eating canned chicken, and just being jacked and not a wreck, drunk, drug addict, pussy bitch of a man. Like, I was just happy with that. I learned true gratitude in prison. A lot of you guys haven't had enough taken away from you. So you think more is gonna matter. You haven't had less. Yeah. Like, when everything's taken away from you, you start to realize what matters. And the other day I had a really negative run-ins with like negative people who are still in like a lifestyle that we're not even involved in, you know, just weird people. And then at first I wanted to kill them. I'm like, I'm going to kill these people. I don't give a fuck if I go to prison. It's a rap, murder. Like, they don't know what I'm capable of. I've actually done horrendous shit and I went to prison for it. I'm not someone who talks about being a gangster online. I actually went to prison for gangster ass shit. And this is the thing. I'm going back to the old me momentarily. Right. And then I grasp that person and I go, oh no, what the fuck? And I go, what I'm supposed to learn here is that All these other people who aren't very evolved, but they're good people, I need to be more patient with them. I need to give them more of my time. I need to spend zero energy on the negative people who don't deserve it. And I need to be better for all these good people around me. All it did was magnify the amazing people. And the old me would have brought all the energy towards the negative. I did that for a little bit, like maybe an hour. And that was long for me. Because usually I tell people, shut the window. Like the window to that anger or that rage, the quicker you shut it is how much you can manage and notice your level of personal growth. So that being open for an hour was a hard situation for me. I hadn't been that fucking turnt and angry in a while. And I flipped it around. And I thought about what's the understanding that I'm supposed to learn from this. He's like, and it was, oh, you have great people. Put all your energy into them. And it helped me. It was awesome. I made a YouTube video about it right away. I didn't even think I could make the YouTube video. I was fuming. I was so pissed off. And then I sat down, I had that realization. I got that reframe, I realigned myself, and I made an amazing video directly in that moment. What if you just did that? What if all day long you had a pen and paper out, you had your notes out, you had your phone out, you had the camera out, and you were just documenting a man trying to go back to his old ways, but finding a new. Life trying to break him, but he was too strong to be broken. Having to exercise restraint when most wouldn't. So solving everybody's problems in real time. That's what we can do with our phones now. We can actually be a vessel and an offering daily to show people how to act and be, to change their lives in real time.
Yeah. You said something really interesting earlier. You said you tapped in for just a moment, that rage, that wrath, but you used it productively. You used it as a lesson. You used it to heal somebody. And I've done that. So as a machine gunner, we learn how to like really tap into anger and to wrath.
Well, because it hurts. Like my anger's fucking, it is painful. Like I'll go do something and I'm ready for the outcome. A lot of people ask for outcomes in life that they're not ready for. I've done 10 years. If I'm gonna go do something violent to someone, I'm ready to do a life sentence. So I'm ready for it. You can do anything you want in this life if you can accept the outcome. So you can, but you can totally realize that no man gets away with anything. So if you go hurt someone, the second after you hurt them, they were acting big and bad. The second they're splattered on the fucking floor, you will experience massive regret for hurting that person. What you dished upon them, you will feel. There's no way around this. Are you ready for it? And people just don't understand this universal truth of karma. I mean, cause and effect. And I mean, I just want to show people you're not going to get away with it. And you're not badass for acting a certain way. You're not hard. A lot of these people, they're hurt. They're not hard. They're just hurt. They're little boys who need a fucking hug. Like they probably, dad wasn't there. And they're actually lashing out at other men who resemble a father figure they would want. And they don't know how to correctly be like, hey, can you teach me? They're just yelling at dad. Right. And dad's you.
Is self-mastery then taking that hurt, that pain, that thing, that negative thing that's happened to your life or the thing that was missing, is that self-mastery then to then repackage that into something that you can offer? Is that?
Yeah, well, self-mastery takes self-honesty. And the only way you're ever going to get to a level is to heal yourself. That's why I tell people, heal yourself, teach others to do the same. It's as simple as just fucking like a fat parent being like, bro, it's been fucking horrible having this body my whole life. I am not going to pass this on to my children, but they do. They're so unaware of what they're doing that they're actually saying they love someone, but passing on the greatest source of pain they've known to that person by neglecting the fact that that was their goal. Their goal in life was to heal what caused them pain. What caused me pain in my life was not having a body that I liked, drugs and alcohol, and financial problems. So those were like the three main things that I struggled with that caused me pain, and I've healed them, and I've taught others to do the same. And then by teaching others to heal these things, I've taught them to change their financial status too. I've actually created such a system that it's unheard of. Like I literally, the quote that I wrote on my prison rack when it was about count time at 4 a.m. and I would write all my quotes. People talk about the power of 3:40 a.m. People like Sadhguru and other spiritual advocates, they say are most aligned with your purpose at 3:40 a.m. I didn't know this till I got out and I saw some YouTube videos about that. And then, but I realized that every morning I was up early writing my thoughts and my feelings at 3:40 as 4 o'clock count happened. Because you had to be on your bunk at count. They have to come count you, flying a fucking flashlight in your face. And I'm writing all my stuff right then. And I wrote down that our life's purpose is to create the individual we admire and give that person to the world. Now, every time I hear someone say it, I know where it came from. Because nobody else clearly defined our purpose like I did with that. And I don't quote myself. We're all tapping into universal knowledge and wisdom. That's not me who said that. That was me just tapping into God's truth, the honest truth, the truth of life. And when I started living that, my whole life changed. And people, they'll hear stories like this and be like, your whole life changed just like that? It's like, you fucking idiot. When I did certain things and thought a certain way, I went to prison. When I did certain things and thought a certain way, I live this life now. It's as clear as day. Why do people think they can get away with it? I'm still shocked.
Yeah. This connection that you have to the source, to operate from that place, because I've been to a very logical place in my life. I've been to a place where I just override. Whatever was projected onto me was my reality. And at some point, I don't know if it was because, 2018, 2019, I started doing more meditations, more grounding. I just recently started prayer, but I just started finding out, like, what is the thing talking about inside of me and trying to uncover all of that. How do you live from that place 24/7? Because for me, I have my on and offs. You have it, you just tap into it all the time. Can you explain or kind of expand on
Nothing means anything else to me. When I read that quote, which was, your conscience is the authentic voice of God, it was true to me. I was like, oh, that's the voice I listen to. And me being someone who never had a job, never listened to, I was a criminal, so I didn't listen to laws of man. I never had a job, so I didn't report anywhere. I've never had a job, so I never reported to anybody. So I don't have that in me to listen to outside influence. So I don't listen. I won't listen. It's a gift and a curse. It's a vice and a virtue. I won't listen. But that voice inside I will listen to. And since I'm relentless, I'll just listen to that voice and I'll fail forward. I'll just learn and grow. I'll apply the pressure and I'll make the needed pivots and adjustments. If I listened to more people, I'd probably be better at, business and other stuff. But I don't care about the logical systems. People are like, oh, well, wouldn't it be better if you did this in your business? I'm like, I'm not doing anything right. I'm not doing any of the shit right. Like, there is a better way to do everything I do in my business. But the one thing that I do right actually overrides all those things that most people think they need to do right. And the one thing I do right is never miss. That's it. Yeah. So I follow that rule, which is, I'm committed for life. I'm never going to miss. And I'm going to work till I'm one of the top people in this area. Most people switch lanes so much, they change trajectory so much that they're never able to be that person. Because it's very unreasonable to believe that if you chose a path and you walked it for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, that you won't be the top person at it. It's very unreasonable because it starts marginalizing. The percentage of people that are in something 25 years gets so much smaller that, like I said, by default, you become one of the best. There's no fucking way. And just based everything off that. I'm not outcome based. I'm not results driven. I'm character based. So the only thing I have to do is show up and give my all. By showing up and giving my all, I outperform people.
Yeah, 100%. I'm on this mission right now to help change a lot of people at their operating systems. What is the message that you feel the world needs to hear that's going to really create a shift? Because again, like, I don't know if it was the past few years, but it's just, I have this sense right now that passiveness in the world, and I really want to heal that, because it has changed my life from just being the shitbag of a person who just played victim all the time. Everything happened to me. My family got all fucked up. Now I'm fucked up, and this is how my life's gonna be. But that passiveness never served me. But that's amplified right now. I don't know if you feel that way.
Well, it's just, you have to show them it's okay to be their authentic self. Like, nobody's really saying their thoughts. Nobody's really going, look at this fat, sloppy piece of shit. They're like, oh, that's wrong to say. Is it? Isn't it wrong to trash your body like that? Like, aren't you just fucking sticking your finger in God's face? Oh, thanks for the body, God. Fuck you. I'm going to trash it. Like, what's worse? You've been given this miracle that is our life, and you're trashing it. And you would call me an asshole for saying, the fuck did you do to that? I mean, the whole thing is the person who will step forward and personify the teaching, he will get others to wish to learn from him. Everyone else is too scared to really say it because they don't really live it. Everyone wants to talk like me. Everyone thinks like me. They just can't say it because they don't fit it. So now they're just being hypocrites. What are they going to say? Look at this guy fucking drinking like a bitch, It's like, you drank last week, bro. Like, they all fit the same mold because it's easier. Like, they're all operating from the same creature comforts, and they don't realize that this is their weaknesses. Nobody wants to live such a life of restraint. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable. It's purpose. It's not pleasure. That's why I always say purpose over pleasure. But then when you really start to validate yourself with knowing that a man's strength comes from restraint, well, now you become powerful. And that's what men are missing, is power. They're missing their own power. I put the power into my daily habits by saying, I wake up at 2:45, and I have for 16 years. What? And people are like, why? I'm like, because it's hard, and it makes me feel powerful when I do. And they're like, well, aren't you tired? I'm like, I don't give a fuck if I'm tired. I'm powerful. And they're like, well, I would be tired. I'm like, you've never done it. You did it once or twice, and you talked negatively about it. I spoke positively of myself about this sacrifice that I make to be better and to prove that I'm someone different, and you want to just conform because you're told something. I don't fit your standard, motherfucker. How about that? And it's just, everyone, they're followers. And it's okay. Just watch who you follow. Make sure the people you follow have the results you want. And make sure there's someone who is not, their intentions aren't to capitalize. Their intentions are to fucking literally create other leaders within their faction. Like, true leaders create other leaders. That's what it is.
Yeah. And so for somebody like me that's starting to really unlock self, like at a different level, because, I've established a baseline, you took me to like a whole different level.
I love where you're at. I mean, it's the only thing, it gives me back so much strength when I see people that they're like actually applying something and getting a result in a world full of people who don't have results. It's fucking crazy.
So for people like us, obviously what you're teaching, I'm downloading, I'm absorbing, I'm applying, most importantly. Next steps for somebody like me, is it just continuing on the path and just commit to the life? Is there anything else that somebody at my level that I'm not thinking about? Or is
No, you just never miss the daily habits, and they become so monotonous, they become so redundant, they become very fucking just run of the mill for you, to where you're applying the same process over and over, and then a life test will come in. So most people will opt out of their process when the test comes in. The goal is to let life come try to test you and break you off your path and not. So the goal is to stick to a path, and when life comes to test you, you don't break. That's the whole goal. And I mean, these are the times that really validate us to ourselves. And I mean, how the fuck would you ever be able to tell people what works for you if you constantly adjust it. The only person who could say something actually works for them is they've done two things. They've shown no deviation in the process, and they've shown consistent results that are always escalating. I'm one of the only people who has done this. I'm one of the only people who has documented coming out of prison, flat broke, $200, applied a simple process, documented it every day, never failed on it, never changed it, and steadily climbed higher than everybody else. I've never seen someone with the trajectory, with the quickness, with the ability to attain goals as fast, only because one crazy concept, I quit taking back steps. They take a back step and don't understand that's what's causing the problem. I just walked forward. Most people take 5 forward steps all week and then 2 massive back steps on the weekend, and they call that their life, and they never get anywhere. It's what it is.
Yeah, and that test is the thing is that where most people break off? Because that's where I feel, like that's where the most resistance happens, that test. And it happens at every level, it feels like, it doesn't stop.
I didn't want to get on a call yesterday, and I had to because I didn't have to. I have money. I could have just said, you know what, I'm quitting. I don't want to do this anymore. And no, I got to get on this call. And they're like, it's like, why? You can totally put it off. You don't feel good. No, I'm going to feel good from the call. I'm not going to feel good from opting out of the work. So I'm going to feel good from the connection I get with the individual. Once you start to understand what actually fuels you, becoming the source of what you seek and peak physical performance as a man, these two things put you in flow state above the rest. And the whole goal is to elevate above the sensory world that causes the pain. You guys do realize that this sensory world in the banking system, the standards that are set, the fact that we have to earn and live in the way we do, it's created to cause a certain result. It's either sink or swim. So you have to have a result there, but the pain comes from the sensory world, the constructs of time, the constructs of the fact that you have to perform at a level. Now, once you do not even check into that process anymore, you've elevated above it, has no effect on you. So I do not align with the sensory world and all the pain of it, because I do one thing. And it's the one thing of, I don't care. Even if I'm going to do the work, I'm going to be the person that's needed, I'm going to forth my effort, but I don't care about the outcome. The outcome is that I'm that man. The outcome is the man, not the result. So self-mastery is your true aim. People think the result is the aim. No. The man that will continually chase and achieve the result is the aim. That's a man who's mastered self. Every time his emotions try to talk him out of it, he doesn't. Every time his actions are about to falter because maybe his thoughts, his energy, and who he is isn't aligned with wanting to do that act, he still does the act. The guy he's 100% infallible with his ability to apply because he's attached to something deeper, that is a man who's mastered self. So mastery is your true aim, not a result. Now, if you've created a man who's mastered self, you can get any result. And that's the whole point.
Yeah. One of my last questions for you, Wes, is I teach people self-worth, self-love, all of that shit. And people are like, that's fluffy shit. I don't need that shit. I love myself enough. It's good to go. But it's lacking, I think, because it makes you not push forward. It makes you not even value your time. It doesn't make you value anything that you do at the gym, in business, in your relationships, any of that stuff.
Well, I just end up being a dick. Like I'll be on a call with people and I'll say something like that. I'm like, you don't love yourself. The guy's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I wouldn't love having that body. Look at that shit. Like in the whole scope of what bodies can look like, you're saying you love that version, that fat, pasty, shitty version right there that you were fully in charge of creating. You would choose that one of all the bodies that exist. You're choosing that one. You fucking liar. You would choose this one. This one's way more aesthetically pleasing. So why, every day, if you love yourself, did you not choose to create this one? The better one, which is the most enhanced version of your body. And the fact is people have been told and fed this bullshit over time that looks don't matter. But if we're honest, when we look like shit, we feel like shit. And how we feel matters. So what the fuck are we even having to have this conversation about? I was on a call with a lot of people that were agreeing with me last night. And they're like, well, how do I get people to listen to me? I'm like, I wouldn't listen to you. They're like, well, why not? You don't even know me. I'm like, I know you well enough to know that you're not listening to you. Why the fuck would I listen to you if you're not listening to you? The guy's like, well, how do you know I'm not listening to me? Nobody wants that outcome. Nobody wants the outcome you have. There's not one person that would say, hey, I would totally favor that outcome that Matt has right there. Nobody would. You're not winning. And the guy's like, he took so much offense to it. I'm like, take whatever fucking offense to it you want. But he was telling me how he couldn't get his 14-year-old nephew to listen to him. I'm like, I guarantee your 14-year-old nephew will listen to jacked-ass Wes Watson with his dope-ass life over fat Matt with nothing. What the fuck are you so selfish for where you wanted him to listen to you, but you opted out of the work that would have earned his trust for him to listen to you? Why the fuck would he trust you? You have nothing he wants. You have nothing. You've done nothing. You don't even listen to you, motherfucker. Shut up and sit down, you know?
Yeah. Something clicked for something you said to me at the gym earlier just clicked for me. You're like, you just build yourself to be the most lethal person that you could possibly be, and then that comes out. The ability to hold up a true mirror to other people, because you just hold yourself to the highest fucking standard. That will naturally be your response.
No men nowadays can truly hold that mirror because they're not developed in every area, and it hurts because they want to stand on their strengths. The bodybuilders in elevation right here, they will look better than me, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I look better than him. And I'm like, yeah, but you're broke. Like, you're not doing anything. Like, you're not even able to take care of your family the way you want. Your girl's very disappointed in the fact that you guys are splitting the rent, motherfucker. And now the guy is this small with facts. If the facts about your life make you feel this big, it's not time for you to blame the facts. It's time for you to change the facts. I've changed my facts. Grover told me I'm a cleaner the other day. He's like, you know, there's, you know, what is it? There's closers, there's this, and then there's a cleaner, you know. He's all, a true cleaner can change who they are. Change who you are. Fully change. You guys, Phil has changed. He came in, his arms were chunky, his waist was small, there was a bicep vein popping. Don't even trust a man without a bicep vein. Don't do it. He's lying to himself all day. He wants to be more muscular, and he's choosing not to. He's a fucking liar. That's it.
Love it, sir. This has, as much as value this is going to be for everybody that's listening, shit, this was valuable to me. Like that, even just that unlock from this morning, it's like the teaching just continue to compound on each other.
I know who you're going to be, bro. If you don't stop, you will look around, and it will be very difficult for you to respect people. Good. Don't respect them unless they earn it. Do not give people respect unless they earn it. That is a problem in society. People are lying to people. They don't even respect them. They just don't want to disrespect them. And that's a problem, because you're not disrespecting someone by telling them they're worth more and that they could be more, and here's how you do it. That's a hookup. That's massive respect. Bro, you're not actualized at all. You could be way better. You just have to do this, this, and this, and it's going to change your life. They think it's disrespectful to tell someone that they're not who they could be, when it's massively disrespectful to lie to someone and have them believe that you're satisfied with who they are when you're not. Tell your spouse what they need to change. Tell your friends what they need to change. If they take offense to it, then what the fuck? Like, the day that me as a man would walk into my house and want my chick to lie to me, I've failed. The day that I would want my kids to be okay with me not being financially secure enough to give them a great life, and they're really questioning, like, what the fuck is our life so bad for? I mean, I've failed because I've passed the pain that I knew on to them. now people are like, well, you shouldn't spoil them. And it's like, no, we're teaching them that quality character and work ethic and being a solid person gives you a different outcome in life.
I love it, sir. All of this has been extremely valuable to me at the end of the day. I'm going to take all of this, implement it as usual, and just continue to execute and continue to build myself and offer that.
Prove to everybody over the next 5 years that this second you saw what you're evolving into. Yes, I see it. Do you guys see the 10.0 Phil that's going to come out? Do you see that his arms are just going to get a little bigger? His waist is going to get more chiseled. He's going to get more jacked. That work that he puts in over the next 5 years is going to be that extra confidence you can feel through the screen. The guy who cared about himself enough to be able to care for you correctly. Mm-hmm. Because a man who says he loves his kids but doesn't know how to love himself, he does love his kids. Mm-hmm. As much as he loves himself, very little.
Wow. I was going to ask you if you wanted to leave anything for anybody else, but shit.
I just want to see who you become over the next 5, 10. And I mean, that's only been my goal. I've had such long view that they're like, look what you did in 6 years. I'm like, bro, watch what I'll be later. And they'll be like, a billionaire? I'm like, I never thought of that. You guys, I've never thought about being a billionaire. Mm-hmm. I never have. Mm-hmm. I've never placed any emphasis on the man I'm becoming on money. Mm-hmm. I know it's a prerequisite, but it was never a defining thing. I say ripped, rich, and rare. I just need to be a high level of everything. And why would I put a cap on it like $1 billion or $5 billion? Mm-hmm. That's a cap. I have no cap. Mm-hmm. If I construct a man who operates at a certain level, then there needs to be no cap. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to pursue the best I can be in all areas and see how far I could go. Mm-hmm. If it reaches $1 billion, then so be it. But the whole point is I've never been someone to set expectations or goals like that. It's always just been the man I have to be each day. Yeah. And by setting that as a goal, all the other goals were met.
Yeah, love it, sir. Well, I appreciate you joining me on today's episode. Fire. I've learned so much. I'm going to take a lot, and you're going to see 20.0. You're going to see 100.0. You're just going to see me leveling up because all of that being fucking absorbed right now.
Everybody watching, if people are fucking telling you that you could be more, don't take it as disrespect. If someone is further than you in life and they tell you in a way that you don't want to hear it, that you could be more, realize they're calling you up. They're not calling you out. There's a huge fucking difference.
All right, guys, you heard it from the man himself. Make sure you take all of this knowledge, this wisdom, and fucking execute. Don't waste it. Crush it.
Yeah.